There's a moment many people quietly reach where tests come back normal, scans look clear, labs raise no concern, and instead of relief, there's confusion. Because daily life still feels harder than it should. Not necessarily dramatic or alarming, just heavier. Movements require more effort. Recovery takes longer. The body hesitates in ways that doesn't make sense. And this is often where people stop trusting themselves. But this moment isn't failure, and it isn't a mystery. It's just the beginning of a different explanation, one that most conversations never reach. When a test is called normal, it's doing a specific job. It's ruling out disease, structural damage, serious pathology, and that's important and reassuring. But normal doesn't mean that everything is working right. It means that the body is intact, and that tests don't measure how efficiently movement is coordinated, how smoothly posture adapts, how much effort the system uses to stay upright. They confirm safety at a structural level, not ease at a functional one, and that difference matters more than most people realize. Most people feel relief at first, and as time passes, days, weeks, and symptoms don't fully resolve, fatigue lingers, tension just under the surface. Everyday tasks feel oddly demanding, and that gap creates doubt. If nothing's wrong, why does this feel so hard? This question quietly erodes confidence. People start pushing harder or minimizing what they feel or wondering if they're just imagining it. But this isn't a mindset issue. It's a signal that the system cleared danger but never reorganized for ease, and that distinction changes everything. Medical tests are excellent at detecting pathology. They are not designed to assess coordination. They don't evaluate how the nerve system integrates balance, posture, movement, or sensory input in real time. That organization happens continuously, automatically, below conscious awareness, especially under pressure. And because it's dynamic, it doesn't leave a static marker. There's no lab values, there's no image findings, there's no scan results, which means a person can be cleared medically and still feel functionally off. They're not broken, they're just operating under a different rule set. Because under sustained stress, the nerve system adapts, not for performance, but for protection. This isn't emotional, it's biological. Muscles stay tense and guarded, movements become cautious, energy gets conserved, and these responses are intelligent. They help the system manage uncertainty. The problem is duration. When protection stays active too long, it starts to look a lot like dysfunction, even though nothing's damaged. The system is doing its job, just in the wrong context. And the longer that persists, the harder it is to recognize what's changed. Protective patterns don't tear tissue, they don't fracture bone, they don't inflame joints. They alter timing, efficiency, coordination, and that's why imaging stays clean, why the body feels heavy, restricted, slow, or hesitant, and the structure is fine. The strategy has changed, and strategies don't show up on scans, they show up in effort, in how quickly the body recovers or doesn't. This is why reassurance alone often doesn't restore confidence, because reassurance doesn't change organization. Regulation describes how the nerve system decides what level of safety is present. It's not willpower, it's not mindset, it's certainty. And when certainty is low, the system holds on. When certainty increases, coordination improves, less guarding, smoother transitions, lower background effort. This shift often appears quietly. People notice steadier days before they notice symptom changes, because organization stabilizes first. Relief is a downstream effect, not a starting point. And without this framework, people feel unseen. They're told everything looks fine, while their experience says otherwise. That disconnect creates frustration, not because providers are wrong, but because the conversation stopped too early. Nothing was missed, nothing was imagined. The system adapted, but nobody explained how. Understanding regulation restores coherence. It connects the experience with the explanation, and that alone reduces threat, which the nerve system responds to immediately. Change rarely arrives dramatically. It shows up subtly. Movements feel steadier. Reactions soften. Recovery takes less time. Days fluctuate less. These signs often appear before major symptom improvement because the system is reorganizing. Protection is releasing gradually. Efficiency is returning quietly. This is why forcing progress often backfires. Organization doesn't respond to pressure, it responds to clarity and predictability over time. This matters for people who followed the recommendations, stayed consistent, did everything right, and still feel off. It's especially common in high performers, caregivers, professionals, and athletes, anyone under sustained demand. Normal tests don't invalidate their experience. They narrow the explanation. They point away from damage and towards coordination. That's not a downgrade. It's a more precise place to look. Normal results usually mean the body is intact, and that's good news. But function depends on organization. When regulation changes, the nerve system coordinates differently, sometimes protectively, sometimes efficiently. And understanding that distinction ends self-blame. It replaces confusion with clarity, and it explains why effort alone rarely fixes this phase. Because the issue was never effort, it was safety. If tests are normal and something still feels off, the answer isn't pushing harder or endlessly searching. It's understanding how the system organizes protection. Clarity reduces threat. Certainty reduces garden. And when the nerve system feels safe enough, function becomes easier again. Not because nothing was wrong, but because nothing was broken.